Good evening, Gabbie.
Good evening, TC, and welcome to our weekly podcast, The Curran View, with the Isle of Hillsborough, Mr. Terry Curran. And if you're listening free to the first half on either Acast or Spotify, you can follow the links on our socials and access the full podcast via either Apple, or become a Patreon, all the W's patreon.com/SRBmedia. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Curran View, or on Facebook, The Curran View, or join the group that is just under 3,000 strong. Thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Fluff me lines, mate. Have you ever done that?
Many a time.
Where are you? You sound as though you're in a factory, TC.
I'm in the factory. I'm in my kitchen.
Oh, you're in your kitchen. You're sounding quite echoey, and there seems to be a lot going on around you. Them boys behaving themselves.
How's that?
That's fantastic. Talking about how's that? What a terrible start for England in the West Indies.
I'm not a cricket fan.
No, I know you're not.
I'm the last person you need to be asking about cricket. So when you look at it, I mean, I've not seen it. But when you look at it, when you look at the results, it doesn't seem that 2 minutes when they're in Australia, and everybody was saying the same thing.
Yeah.
There is something wrong with our coaching or the system, whatever it is, whether it's rugby, football. Yes, we won a World Cup at Rugby Union, but for some unknown reason, I mean, Australia, it's a bigger country, but a smaller population, yet produce world-class rugby players compared to, I'm not saying we don't produce good top rugby players and some world-class players, but we don't produce enough like the rest of the world in their sport. So something radically wrong, and I've always said it. I mean, I can't really talk about cricket and rugby because I've never really been involved in it. Other than that, there's something not right.
To be fair, apart from the batters can't bat, the bowlers can't bowl, and the fielding isn't very good. England are doing okay, but there you go. And we've got to say, while we're just on the cricket thread, sad news about the passing of Shane Warne, age 52. What an absolute legend. I mean, what he couldn't do with the ball wasn't worth doing. And I was listening and watching on Sky that tribute, Warne in a Million. It seemed a fantastic fella. The people that knew him spoke of him so highly. And Shane used to say before an Aussies test series, he'd always invented another bowl, but in fact he hadn't. He was just playing mind games with the England batsmen. And while we're talking about rest in peace, Frank O'Farrell, and we lost Gordon Lee today as well. So very sad.
And Rodney Marsh as well.
Yeah, Rod Marsh, the great Australian wicketkeeper, who did an awful lot for the England's academy.
Yeah, when you look at Shane Warne, he's got to be in the top one, hasn't he?
Definitely.
Absolutely world class cricketer, spin bowler. Absolutely. Devastating news when you look at him because his life and soul have a part in. He wants to live his life.
Yeah.
And he got that charisma about him, like all great sports people, or sports personalities. They have that aura about them, don't they? And he attracted a lot of attention when he was playing cricket. It's a sad day, and I hope it's not what the people talked about, but it's been a massive heart attack. So let's see what really happens from it all. But it's a sad news.
Absolutely, he did live life in the fast lane, bless him, and bowled in the same manner. He was the most fiercest of opponents, and he actually made spin bowling absolutely cool. And as I say, God rest him, and Gordon Lee and Frank O'Farrell. Magic Moments, TC, what have you sourced for us this week? I think we might have a snap here.
Well, we won't, because I will never pinch yours. And listen, I think you may go with the Derby thing, but unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, the boy, the ex-Man United player, not Greenwood.
Ravel Morrison.
Rav Morrison. If he'd have put his mind and got his mindset to be one of the world great players, I think he would have been.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen glimpses of it, but Rooney's got the best out of him. So I'm not going to go with that because obviously you put it up. Absolutely sublime, unbelievable. 3 parts of it. to your magic moment in that one incident.
Mm.
You know, I'm going to go with Odegaard, is it? The Arsenal lad.
Yeah, what a goal that was as well.
Where he's got it, flipped it, back-heeled it.
Oh, great touch, wasn't it?
Played it through to Saka.
Yeah.
Gets the byline. That's what I like to see the wide men do. Get it byline. You've got 3 or 4 options. What does he do? He pulls it back. Everybody's running towards the goal. And when I say everybody, you've got the Arsenal midfield players and forwards attacking, going towards the Watford goal. The Watford defenders having to turn and go back towards their goal. So for me, that was absolutely a piece of unbelievable magic. The player at Aston Villa, it's a ball outside of his foot.
Yeah, Callum Chambers, yeah. What a Franz Beckenbauer-esque, wasn't it?
Unbelievable. But the pull down and everything else, there's been that much. And on top of that, Harry Kane did play well last night, but that song were absolutely unbelievable. I mean, he never stops running. He's got technical ability. He's got a football brain. He's been a massive plus for Tottenham over these 4 or 5 years they've had him. But what a funny team Tottenham are.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Go beat Man City, get beat by Burnley, go and beat somebody else, go and get beat by, on penalties, Middlesbrough FA Cup, and then win last night 5-0. And having said that, Everton looked shocking, but that's for another time.
Absolutely. We are going to talk about Everton a little bit later in the podcast. My magic moments, without a doubt, Ravel Morrison. I thought, for me, that wasn't just goal of the week; it was goal of the season, and I think one of the greatest goals that I've ever seen. And you've got to take your hats off to Wayne Rooney, the way that he's got Derby County playing football. They pack Pride Park. They look every inch a mid-table team, which they would be had they not had 21 points deducted. And
having said that, can I just interrupt you there?
Of course you can.
Yes, they do look at a mid-table team, and they are playing terrific football.
Yeah.
But if they wouldn't have had those 26 points, they may not 21. Have been in the position. 26 points that they lost, was it?
Yeah, lost 21. 21 points had deducted, yeah.
Right. They may not have been in the position that they're in now, money-wise.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And you might have had money to get or bring better players in the transfer window.
100%.
But for me, this will be the biggest achievement I've ever seen. If he keeps this up, you can all laugh at it like anything else. I played with Brian Clough, absolutely master. Guardiola has won everything. But to do that, if he keeps this up and having 2 sets of points deducted and put a team together that a lot of people didn't want, unbelievable achievement. And the football to play on top of it, brilliant Wayne Rooney. I admire you so much, it's untrue.
Absolutely, they've had 21 points deducted, so they're on 24 points at the moment. They would have had 45 points, and that would put them just above Stoke City in mid-table. And you're right, they've been playing from a position of catch-up. They've had to get rid of some of the players as well during the season. So he's had his hands tied behind his back. He's had his legs tied together. They've played some fantastic football. They would be playing from a different standpoint had they not had the points deducted. And you could argue that Derby County would be looking to get into the playoff positions had things been different and not had the points deducted. They would also have possibly had new owners by now, had things been a little bit different. But hats off to Wayne. It is against all the odds, and I think you're absolutely spot on. It'd be one of the greatest achievements. Superb, Wayne.
I agree with everything what you've just said. You've analysed it absolutely superbly. But the biggest thing is getting 12 points they got knocked off in first place.
Yeah, something like that, wasn't it? Yeah. And then they had 9. Yeah.
To do really well and then get, it's like an anchor being put round the neck.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But they didn't get the heads down. Rooney didn't get his head down.
No, not at all.
The fans have backed him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's unbelievable, and I admire all concerned. The players, Rooney for having the guts to go and carry on, because a lot of managers would have packed in. fans what's come, packed the ground and got behind them, and I would applaud them.
Absolutely, a former club of yours as well, TC.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at the other two that are in the drop zone with Derby at the moment, Peterborough, had they have had 21 points deducted, would be on no points because they've got 21 points. Barnsley would be on 2 points, and the team immediately above Derby County, Reading, would be on 8 points. So, when you're looking at the type of teams and the form that Derby County have produced throughout their 30, was it 30, I mean, even with the glasses, TC, my eyes aren't that good. 36 games it looks as though they've played this season, so they've got 10 games left. They have produced superb form and far greater than anything in the bottom six. And if that continues, I fully expect Derby County to get out of the predicament that they're currently in. But again, let's go back to that goal. The first goal from Morrison was brilliant. Second goal was just sublime. My other magic moments, you did reference Aston Villa and Callum Chambers. I watched Callum. When I get to the games early, I like to look at the players having a knockabout before the game. And I said this to Tom. I looked at this fella passing the ball, controlling the ball, receiving the ball, and looked at his balance on the ball. And I thought, who's this centre forward that Villa have brought with blonde hair? And then the penny dropped. I thought, blimey, that's Callum Chambers. He looks as though he is a player. I was very impressed with him, and it does look as though he's going to be one for Aston Villa. But the guy that really is pulling all the strings, the magician, with the number 23 on his shirt that Steven Gerrard always calls Phil, is Coutinho. I mean,
what I was going to say,
player!
What I was going to say to you when you were summing that up, I was going to say two things. First and foremost, if I become a manager, I'll take you because that's what I'm looking for in players.
Absolutely.
How you describe a player.
Yeah.
But I was just going to say, but you brought it up. What a signing that has turned out. I mean, he's had 2 or 3 seasons now since he's gone to Barcelona, where for some unknown reason, he's come back to one of the most difficult, if not the difficult league in the world.
Yep.
And producing the football he's producing, and he has made a massive difference to Villa's style of play at Coutinho. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, he is a magician. I've been down there and watched him a couple of times this season. I watched Coutinho play against Leeds United, and I thought that first half, he was absolutely sublime. With every game, he's getting more into the way that, and the form that he's produced previously with Liverpool. Yeah, you're right. When he was at Barcelona, it just didn't happen for the kid for whatever reason. But he does look an absolute world-class performer. And Steven Gerrard said, no disrespect to any other player on the pitch, but Phil was a step ahead, and he is a step ahead, and I hope that Villa do keep him. And Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins are forming a great partnership up there. I do like, although I'm a Birmingham City supporter, I do like to watch Villa, and lots of my family are Villa, and I go down there if Tom's got a spare ticket, and I stand there in the lower Holt and watch Villa. It's a fantastic club, fantastic ground, superb supporters. They all know I'm a Blues fan, but I've got respect and admiration for Villa and for what Steven's doing.
For football in general.
Absolutely, 100%.
That's what you are, but I think people should look at that. So, well, I'm going to be. Yeah, Gabbie's a big Birmingham fan, but yes, people will turn around and say, "Well, how can you like Villa when you're that's irrelevant."
I'm a football fan.
I'm a Wednesday fan, but when anybody beats us and plays better than us, I'm first to hold my hands up and say, "Wow, what a great performance that is!" Whoever it is.
Absolutely, TC. Absolutely. And I loved Ollie Watkins' turn and goal, an assist from Danny Ings. They do look as though they're forming a partnership, and it does take time. And I've always said this to Tom, what Villa need are time. They need time for the players to bed in, to gel, bring in another couple of quality players, and Villa will be all right next season. They should be looking next season in the at least top 8, top 6 and above that, because that's for me is where this current Aston Villa team belong. And
what Gerrard will not do is fetch 5, 6, 7 players in at once.
Not at all. No,
he'll keep
absolutely
quality.
Yeah.
to keep improving the team, to keep taking it on to the next level.
Yeah.
You can see that. You can see that there's a bit. I mean, I like Dean Smith. I really do like Dean Smith, but there's a different performance in these Villa players under Gerrard.
But you've always said and maintained this, TC, on every podcast that we've done, you need an elite manager because the elite manager attracts them elite players and it gets the performances out of them. And Dean Smith, I like Dean Smith. I think he's a lovely fella. I've been in his company a couple of times and he got time for everybody. I like that in a person. I like him as a manager. But Steven Gerrard has just took Villa on to that next level. And I've got to say, my last magic moment, I've got to bring it up, is Manchester City's performance against United, particularly in that second half. City were phenomenal. I was talking to one of my customers today who's a Man United fan. He's from Salford. He's a Manc. And he said, what did you think about the game? And I said, it was embarrassing the second half. It was almost as though United needed somebody to throw a ball onto Man United and say, well, you can play with that because you've got no chance of getting that off City.
Well, I look at football and yes, I keep telling you, but there isn't enough elite managers, so it is difficult for lots of the.
Yeah.
But this is what baffles me, and I'm not praising you. Well, I am going to praise you. If I didn't think you were right, I said, Gabbie, you're talking shit.
Yeah.
But don't take that the wrong way because that's how I talk. It's
Absolutely.
just not horrible. When you summed up Callum Chambers, you summed it up that I would have signed that player. Quality on the ball, his touch is good. He's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing that. That's what I look at.
Yeah.
Now, you've got to be able to get around the pitch. There's two ways to get around the pitch. You either got to be fit or you've got to have a football brain, what gets you into a position that stops the problem before it starts. And what we don't have in this country is enough quality coaches, and I don't, because what I think I'm knocking at. No, I'm not. I'm telling you, you don't think outside the box.
Yeah.
Your coaching ways has been the same since I was playing. All right, it's either one way or the other. It's either a long ball up and at it, win the second ball, or it's channel ball to get him turned to pin him into a corner. And listen, Howard Kendall didn't do it, and Brian Clough didn't do it, play that way. Yeah, they won everything in Europe, did Forest, and Everton won their European adventures, but they couldn't play the European Cup because of the Eisel disaster.
Absolutely.
We don't know whether they won the European Cup or not, but they would have had a good chance to win it.
Would.
So there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it, and I'm not against anybody what not's played football. But what happened is it's baffling to see these players, what's been top players, fail as managers. So there's that many poor players come through the system, right? So when they go to manage these clubs, they can't hack it because a lot of players aren't particularly good at understanding the game, or the controller's not good enough, and the crossing's not good enough. So they get frustrated because it was easy for them.
Yeah.
But there's something wrong with our system, and until we improve our coaching or our culture, then we're always going to struggle. And I'm not wrong because why is there so many continental managers or foreign managers, however you want to put it, in the Premier League? And what I said 42 years ago, there'll be foreign coaches, more foreign coaches and more players than English coaches. And am I right again?
Absolutely, TC, you're absolutely spot on. And how brilliant a job, and again, another manager, coach, that you've always spoke very highly of. You wanted Sheffield Wednesday to have him as your manager. Mikel Arteta, I mean, it looks as though Arsenal are going to finish up fourth place in the Premier League. Arteta has done an absolute fabulous job. And again, he's had his problems and he's only a young manager, but he's got Arsenal playing great football. He's blooding the kids. He wants players that technically are good on the ball, pass the ball, movement, and things are looking really good for Arsenal. And I've always thought that, if I was running a football club, and I've never played the game at the high level that you have, or that Al has, or other players that I've done podcasts with, I would have you guys being in and around that football club and managing it because you understand football. Man United have got too many people that know nothing about football.
I wouldn't do any other job in a football club, only manage. I've been asked a few times to be, scouts to fetch players in.
No, I want you to bigger role than that. Yeah, absolutely.
I want to make decisions on team affairs.
Yeah,
I know what I want.
Yeah.
I know how I want to play. I know I want to play with the tempo.
Mm-hmm.
I know what type of player I want in.
Yeah.
And I know I want to attack. But I do know one thing. I'm not stupid enough to understand that if you're going to attack, you've got to have quality defenders.
Absolutely, that's what City do.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody does defends and over defends. And what I mean by over defends, they get everybody in and around the ball. Yes, it makes it difficult for the opposition to break down. But what happens when you counter attack?
Exactly.
You soon lose the ball because all you're doing is cleaving the ball.
Exactly.
So no, I wouldn't work any other position than the manager of a football club. And I'd only do it if it was. We have been clever to an owner or a chairman. They asked me, said to me, "Do I want to manage this football club?" Yes, I'll manage it. On one condition, I pick the team, and I want the players to come in what I think's right for us.
Absolutely.
If I don't see them, well, but sack me.
And this is a problem, TC. There's too many people that own clubs that haven't got football people in and around and manage the clubs. It's baffling, but it isn't surprising that some of the clubs are in the shit that they're in.
I think they've got football people in and around the clubs. I don't think they've got the right people. I know someone turned around and said that's wrong.
Absolutely, yeah.
I've told you before. They used to say when I was coaching in academy, tell me, what do you think of this player here? He's not up to it. And the academy manager I said, what do you want me to do? Just agree with him.
Yeah.
So when he come to me, he said, what do you think to him? Not make it. And everyone, what they've asked me, they haven't made it. They finished up releasing.
Yeah.
Down the line. But what they do in the academies, Gabbie, it might be your kid. So you're lucky. It's your kid they like. So all the emphasis has gone on your kid.
Absolutely.
Best of it. Just there to make the team up.
Yeah.
I've learned that. Yeah. I can see why listen, it's frightening why we don't produce it. People are going to say to me, well, what about the players we've got now? With the players we've got now have all been produced by foreign coaches and foreign managers.
Yeah. They would just want to put all their eggs into one basket. I know I've seen it so many times.
And be honest to yourself. If you're honest to yourself, then you'll be honest to players.
Absolutely, TC. Strange but true, and I want to give a mention to the book. I've actually just connected with the fella that wrote the book, Tony Matthews, currently living in Spain. Football oddities, curious facts, coincidences, stranger than fiction stories from the world of football. Tony wrote this a few years ago, and all my little factoids, my fantastic facts, come out of this book. So I have connected with him and told him what a magnificent read it is. And the latest one, Strange but True, from the Football Oddities book by Tony Matthews, is centre forward Freddie Roberts scored 96 goals for Glentoran in the 1930-1931 season. And Tony is an Albion fan, and I picked out an Albion fact. Ronnie Allen of Port Vale, West Bromwich Albion and Crystal Palace is the only player to have scored in the league and or FA Cup in 20 consecutive post-Second World War seasons from 1945 to 46 to 1964 to 65. What a record. The great Ronnie Allen.
A great achievement. That is a great run. Unbelievable, Jeff.
I mean, 20 seasons. I mean, you're lucky if you get 10, 15, at the top, and Ronnie played pretty much most of his time at the top. But 20 seasons and scoring a goal in every one is just incredible. And I was watching the game today, West Bromwich Albion versus Honved, the club game of the century that was played in Brussels, where Honved beat Albion 5-3, but Albion through Johnny Nichols and Ronnie Allen were 3-1 up at the time before Seaboard and then Kotsic scored the goals to for the Hungarians to run out winners 5-3. So it wasn't just Wolverhampton Wanderers that played them in 1954, but West Bromwich Albion did as well. And 54, of course, was the year that the Albion won the FA Cup. I think they come second in the league to Wolverhampton Wanderers. So the Black Country was the hotbed of football. It was the epicentre of football back in the mid-50s, as was Manchester.
How many FA Cups have they won, Albion? I know they won 67. I do know that.
They certainly won it in 68 when Jeff scored.
Yeah. 68 was it?
68 when Jeff scored against Everton. They definitely won it. They beat Preston North End 3-2 in 1954. Not being an Albion fan, I've got an idea the Albion have... Oh, they did. They beat Birmingham City in 1931. They beat my team. And when Jeremy Peace was the chairman of West Bromwich Albion, I'd done an interview with Jeremy, and he kindly invited me up to the boardroom at West Bromwich Albion. And I think it was W.R. Richardson that scored the winning goal, and he got the boot that scored the winning goal of Richardson and said, "Yeah, Gabbie, have a look at that. That's the boot that scored the winning goal against you." Like, thanks, Jeremy. But what a lovely fella. I didn't do many interviews, but he did do one for me. But great man, Jeremy Peace. West Bromwich Albion. Like yourself, TC, I've always had a soft spot for West Bromwich Albion.
Well, I've told you before, when I played football, those nice, there's some great players. Stay Barnes, and I know they got Barnes and Owen from Manchester City. Little Henderson, little Willie Henderson, Civil Regis.
Willie Johnston.
Willie Johnson, sorry. Welcome to Sheffield Wednesday. Willie Johnson, Brendan Batson, Browne before them.
Yeah, Bomber.
Len Cantello.
Yep.
Oh, they produced some absolutely fantastic players as West Brom. And always, they were a great team to watch. Always a great team to watch.
And I've always, as a kid, liked the name West Bromwich Albion. There was just something about the Baggies that I've always liked. And leading us on now to Book Corner in association with myfootballbooks.com. I'm doing our latest Book Corner podcast with Andy from myfootballbooks.com the week on Friday. So it'll be coming out Monday or Tuesday. I caught up with Gary Thacker, who's wrote Out the Blue about Chelsea winning the Champions League in the season 2011-12, also won the FA Cup. So that's going to be part of the podcast and a standalone podcast as well. But Andy's choice this week is football's Black Pioneers, and I had the pleasure of talking to Bill Hearn and making a podcast with Bill about the book that he co-wrote with David Gleave. Bill's a Sunderland fan, and David supports Crystal Palace, and it just highlights all the 92 football clubs in this country, the first black player. And on this day, the 8th of March 1956, the king of the Albion, Laurie Cunningham, was born, who was the first black player to play for West Bromwich Albion. And there's also a book, Different Class, which is what Laurie was, by Dermot Kavanagh. Sorry?
Didn't they sign him from Orient?
Yes, they did, yeah. Yeah, they bought John Chidozie, hadn't they, in Kitch. It was round about the time that Kitch was playing there, because Kitch played with Chidozie, but Laurie had already gone to West Bromwich Albion. But what a class player. I remember Big Ron telling me about Laurie, and he went to Wembley to watch him play for England, and he says, "Laurie, you don't play like that for me. Why do you play like that for England?" And he said, "That's how the boss wanted me to play." But Ron always said Laurie could run in snow and not leave any prints in the snow.
How long am I telling you that? You're only allowed to play how the manager wants you to play.
Absolutely.
Certain players, and there's very few between.
Yep.
Fluffy let me go and play football. Right? He never. With Martin, he wanted Martin doing a specific job.
Yeah.
Robbo play football, right? But there's a lot of. I mean, Jack wouldn't let me play football. He wanted me to do a specific job. You know, which I found frustrating and detrimental to my ability. But you know, it causes you problems as players because people think that you're a trouble causer, and a lot of them are not. I mean, why would you waste Tony Curry, Alan Hudson, Charlie George, Stamble? Why would you waste that ability?
I've no idea. I keep asking myself the same question. I don't know.
They want to play football,
yeah,
right? But it's the manager, wants to blame them if something goes wrong. You cannot win every game, and all we've had for years and years and years is get your sleeve rolled up and let's get stuck in and get.
To listen to the rest of this podcast, please go to www.patreon.com/SRBmedia or just follow the links in the description. Thank you.